Hello, my name is Dr. K, and my highest excitement is providing you with the tools, the strategies, and the technologies to help you evolve rapidly as conscious leaders in body, mind, and spirit so we can be the change that we've been waiting for. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone you love, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, this is Dr. Kirkendall, and I want to talk to you today about trust. You know, when I set out on my journey to go from everything that I'd worked for and created to letting that go and going out and really listening to my heart, listening to my body, listening to what was feeling expansive, what was standing in the way of being in something and letting go of something and getting to a new destination, you don't know what that is the consciousness, is the awareness, is the emotion, the thought, the feeling, trust. And in this whole spectrum where trust was something that I was really, if I look back, you know, and I was coaching myself here, I would recognize that this was what I really wanted to feel. This is what I really wanted to experience. I wanted to experience really knowing that we're connected to something greater, that there's something bigger going on here than just going to work, paying your bills, and going to bed, and doing it all over and over again. And I feel like I had maybe a unique experience of that because I saw so many sick patients in practice when I was back in Austin, Texas. And I mean, I think of really what I noticed so many people is they didn't trust themselves. They didn't trust the government. They didn't trust the system. They didn't trust that it was working out. They didn't trust they'd be able to retire. They didn't trust their body. They didn't trust anything. And to be quite honest, at one point in my life when I was in middle school, I went through an experience where I got involved very heavily with a church. And this particular church shifted very quickly when the pastor left and a new pastor came in. And nobody, I just got to be honest, nobody liked this person. Nobody liked this pastor. This was a church that was on fire, that was excited. That was what we would have said in, you know, a powerful experience. And then this other man came in and he was set to doom because there's no way he could ever fill this other pastor's shoes. And so, you know, somewhere in that, in my middle school mind, in my middle school brain, I found out I had so much faith in that religion. I had so much faith in that belief. And it really broke my trust. Not only that, I ended up having a falling out with the pastor. It was the weirdest thing. And it just, everything I had dedicated my whole heart, my whole life to, fell apart. Now, the reason I'm saying this is for you, not for me. I'm saying this for you is in your life, certain things fall apart because you think that they're supposed to look a certain way. You know, had I stayed and that pastor had been there and that I really loved and everybody loved him, you know, maybe I would have gone I know I would have gone a completely different path in my life. But because it fell apart, it really asked me to dive deeper. And so what I'm asking for you today is, are you ready for more trust in your life? Are you ready for more knowing, for more certainty? Really more knowing in the unknown. It's kind of a weird thing. You can't really pin it down. But essentially, the unknowing part is where all of the trust is born. Because if you look at a pole vaulter, they're not trying to have it all figured out and have it all precise and all exact in the moment. Now they practice up until that moment to build trust, to build certainty. Know that, man, when I do this, I'm gonna be the best pole vaulter there is. I'm gonna break the world record, you know, or somebody that's a high jumper or a long jumper or a speed runner, you know, they have a practice, but in the moment they are actually just in it. They're fully immersed in it. This is where flow happens. This is what happens when you're surfing. This is where inspiration happens. This is where ideas come through. They're not when you're all tight and in resistance and frustrated. You're like, oh gosh, I have to figure this out. All of this information will start to flow through you. Insight happens. There's openness, so grace can happen. Miraculous things can show up. People can show up and provide you with things that you would have never thought were possible. I could show up in a country like Norway and work with some young kid that has autism and really radically transform that child and transform that family's life, the trust is where all of that beauty and all of that magic happens. And where it's not, I know, is having it all figured out, trying to be safe, trying to do it all. And this is why so much of society and so many of us walk around with so much pain in our bodies, because we are meant to be connected, trusting, knowing people. And this is what our indigenous and our American Indians and other indigenous tribes around the world had. They had connection to nature. They had connection to the birds. They knew that they were connected to the stars. They knew they were connected to the water. And we've lost that ancient wisdom. And going even further back into Egypt and other, cultures like the Mayans and the Incans, a couple thousand years ago. Where all of Chinese medicine comes from is realizing it's, 5-element theory, and it all plays and interplays together. And when you start to shut it off, that's when you're like, okay, what do I need to do to get this business? What do I need to do to make money? What do I need to do to make this thing happen? Where if you'll just sit back and start to work with the old program of, I don't trust. I've lost trust in myself. I've lost trust in my relationship. I've lost trust in the system. I've lost trust to feel and really feel called into what I want to do. I've lost trust that if I do what I want to do on this one life that we can prove right now, that I go in the direction of my passion. I've lost trust that it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be more abundant. So sit with that program. Recognize it's an old program. It's an old software system. And just say to yourself, I'm ready to open to more trust. Well, how do I know to be able to trust this feeling that I'm in the flow again, that I'm in more trust? Is by feeling when inspiration happens. You get ideas for your book. You get ideas for what you want to create. You get ideas for a song. You get really in your heart, and you can communicate and connect with one another. That's where you trust. That's where you trust that you're safe. That's where you trust that you're heard. That's where you trust that, man, I just keep following this exciting path. I keep following this path where I'm helping and serving, because that's what lights you up. That's the whole thing. And that is my little bit on trust today. That's really what I've been growing and cultivating, is I know that when I trust, I feel good. I feel happy. Divine timing, right place, right person, everything begins to flow. That is my personal experience, and I really say to myself, I don't want to pinch off the trust anymore. I don't want to doubt anymore. I don't want that anymore. I want to know that just me saying this to you today will somehow impact you, will somehow impact your family, and then go on and impact the world, because I know it's a ripple effect. It is absolutely, and I trust that. I see it in nature. When an acorn hits the water, it ripples out and it affects the banks. It affects everything along the way. You are that. You are that drop. And that's a powerful thing, because now you realize that you actually have power in your life. That's when trust starts to bring you power. Trust starts to bring you just knowing and a sense of certainty, and your whole being will begin to shift. So start to cultivate that today. I'll talk to you soon. If this video was inspiring and empowering, make sure you share it with someone you love. Like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss a single thing, and I will see you in the next video.